we showcase the great art that kind of gets created, particularly for the new forthcoming expansion of Cataclysm.
And do you think there's going to be some exclusive cinematic art in some of these magazines that'll make them almost collectible?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that's really important to us is not only are we going to be looking at the folks in the cinematic department and kind of what they create and really showcasing in the highest possible definition, you know, some of the art that you might not actually necessarily see online. But we're also going to be, you know, looking at the concept art too, and so that people get a real taste of everything that WoW has to offer, including some of the vanilla stuff as well, that stuff people might have missed way back in the day 5 years ago when it was launched.
And we have something back here. This is a mock-up, right?
Absolutely. Basically, as you can see, this is because it's not a newsstand magazine, it's subscription only. So one of the things that we'll be doing is having incredibly gorgeous covers. The first cover is actually going to be created by fantasy artist Todd Lockwood, who's done some really, really cool stuff for Blizzard. And I can't tell you too much about what it'll be, but it's going to be featured in some forthcoming content, basically. We don't have any cover lines, so this really is a coffee table magazine, we like to call it, because it's not like the usual flimsy, thin magazines you get on the newsstand. This is a big, thick, 148-page magazine with no ads, so it's all content, which we think is really cool.
I see you have a Murloc in your hand, and there's a line forming here. So what exactly are you doing with that? Because we are selling a blue and white one in our store.
Absolutely. This is an exclusive for the magazine. If you're at the show and you subscribe to the magazine, you get this quirky, which is an exclusive green Murloc. You can't get it anywhere else. And once the show is closed, he's gone forever. So yeah, we've got a lot of people that are queuing up to buy this thing.
And you heard it here first, World of Warcraft, the magazine. They're launching this in November, right? The first issue?
Yep, first issue will be November, and it will be a quarterly from then on.
And it's only available through subscription. You won't be able to buy it in stores, so you'll need to go in on the website, right?
Yep, basically if you go to www.worldofwarcraftthemagazine.com, that's where you're going to be able to pick it up. You'll also be able to subscribe through Blizzard too.
You heard it here first. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Joe. I'm sure everyone is going to be really excited about that World of Warcraft magazine when it comes out.
They have everything now, even their own magazine.
And their own magazine. And speaking of news, if you want to learn more news about World of Warcraft, you know where to go. You go to IGN.com. They have all of the reviews and previews, hopefully, of Cataclysm coming up soon as more of that information is out.
Absolutely.
Everything right at your fingertips, so go check it out.
Now, another big thing here at BlizzCon is the store, Cat. There's a huge line. There's fast pass systems. Everyone can go to this store and have a chance to buy brand new Blizzard items that are exclusively available only here at BlizzCon, right?
So they are, and I have a couple here to show today.
Wow, we got some stuff below the desk here.
Stuff below the desk, we're going to pull it out. Okay, so there's an artist here in Southern California. His name is Scrojo. He's very mysterious. And he's done rock posters for REM, for Violent Femmes, for all the big bands.
And now he's doing stuff for Blizzard?
He is. So they came to him and they asked him to do T-shirts on their community.
Yeah,
can you see that
absolutely. Check that out. Look at that. That looks nice.
And so they said, we want you to interpret each of our brands in your own way.
T-shirt right
so
there.
This is the World of Warcraft one.
Okay.
And then this one is the Marine. It says Jacked Up.
Wow. That's StarCraft right there. That looks nice.
And then this one is my favorite. It's
Diablo
the Butcher. The Diablo. It says fresh meat.
Fresh. Look at that. Now, these shirts can only be bought at BlizzCon. They're not available online,
They're not available online. They'll be available on eBay, however, I'm sure.
They're probably already up there on eBay. Probably even, you were telling me they're already sold out even here at BlizzCon, right?
They're on their way to being sold out.
Wow.
So they will be sold out soon. And then another thing that we have that I know that Joe featured yesterday were the noobs that were on sale. And the person who created the Ragnaros noob, his name is John Butkus. And he hand-painted this one, especially for our DirecTV show for you guys. And it's Arthas. And you can see that he turned the gun into Frostmourne.
Wow.
And he has the face here. I thought it was really impressive. This is hand-painted just for you guys.
Now, this is someone, you know, the Blizzard employees even had a contest amongst themselves to paint these. We've actually got some footage here of how the Blizzard artists worked on these brand new noobs. This is a brand new thing here this year at BlizzCon. So everyone that came to BlizzCon, they made 26,000 of these noobs that fans got in their goodie bag at BlizzCon. But inside of Blizzard, all the amazing artists did these paintings of all these noobs, and then 3 of them were selected to be duplicated and sold here exclusively at the store, right?
They were, and there were a lot of them that they actually wanted to make into noobs. However, they were too hard to reproduce. They were too many mechanical
There's
and
one with a
modifications.
surfboard.
Right.
People are being very creative, obviously, with all these ideas of these noobs. So they did the Marine form. Do you think this is the kind of thing where going forward they're going to do different forms?
Absolutely. Okay. It's a new line of products that they have, and the line of the products is called noobs. And so every year, maybe, I don't know, they didn't announce, but they'll come out with a new form. And in fact, the guests here, if you go to the store and you buy a blank, there's a station where you can paint it and customize your own noob while you're at BlizzCon.
Amazing. Well, a lot of creativity amongst the fans and also the Blizzard community.
Yes.
Well, that's great. So the noob, as we mentioned, everyone that came to BlizzCon got one of those. But if you are buying this broadcast on DirecTV, you do get a special in-game pet, right?
You do. Your in-game pet is also in a battle suit, very similar to this.
Okay.
And the name is Grunty, yeah. And it has this great animation where whenever, every few seconds, it like shoots its machine gun up in the air and it goes all crazy.
Look at that. We give you something inside of the game as well. Now let's talk a bit more about what we can expect today, because yesterday there was so much news in the opening ceremony. What news do you think might break today? I know the StarCraft 2 lore panel is coming up later today. As Mike hinted, there may be a special guest, and there were even, Andy was mentioning yesterday, there may be some news about the voice cast in StarCraft 2 in that panel. So there could be some breaking news, right?
There is. I mean, there's definitely going to be someone on that panel that probably has to do with, we're guessing, maybe the voice actors, we're not sure. So I expect someone to show up and have an announcement there. Also, the StarCraft 2 gameplay panel afterwards, they might make some announcements about changes to the different races. I know they've been working on that. So
Interesting. Now, there's also a lot happening with World of Warcraft. I know everyone's wondering, you know, they have a lot of questions about World of Warcraft and Cataclysm. We're going to have a lot of guests coming onto the show. So if you have questions that you want us to get to the developers, if you know, questions about Cataclysm, send them to our Twitters, and we'll be happy to ask those for you guys, because this is going to be a major change to the World of Warcraft game universe. And Azeroth will never be the same after this Cataclysm expansion.
Never be the same, exactly.
You're excited about this,
I am excited about this. I mean, you know, I think that all of us that are on the forums have the same question: is how is this going to happen? And you broached that question with Mike. We're going to rebroach it again. We're going to keep asking it and see if we can get someone else, you know, some type of an answer out of someone today. But how is this all going to happen? They've mentioned terrain phasing technology, and they've mentioned that the entire world is going to change, and they've mentioned, you know, that they're going to be changing the whole leveling experience. So are they going to phase in this Cataclysm? Is it going to be one big world event? How is it going to happen? I need to know.
Well, we'll try and get you the answers to that, Kat. All right, well, another big Blizzard game is Diablo, and yesterday they unveiled the brand new Monk class for Diablo 3, and now we're going to take you exclusively behind the scenes with the Diablo team and Jay Wilson to tell you a bit more about how they're developing that game at Blizzard's campus.
Hi, my name is Jay Wilson, and I'm the game director on Diablo 3. It's my responsibility to make sure all of our departments, programming, art, and design, work together to make a cohesive, great vision of a game. So we're going to show you the Diablo 3 area. Come on. All right, we're going to start our tour today with the man himself. This is the original Diablo. Of course, not the original Diablo, but this is a costume made back when the original Diablo was first being introduced. And you can actually put a person inside this, and they can walk around and, you know, scare the neighbors and things like that. So we've managed to hold on to him and build a nice little proper altar to him, and he's pretty cool. This is the office of our lead programmer. Notice the door is closed because he's trying to program stuff. So come on, we'll go to some other areas. So here we are in the offices of our concept team and character team. Over here we have Victor Lee. He's our lead concept artist. He's responsible for a lot of the monsters and NPCs and environments. You know, he really kind of is one of the visionaries who creates a lot of those environments and inspires a lot of our team to what the world of Diablo is going to look like. But over here is what I really wanted to show you. Is this is offices of a couple of our concept artists and our character artists. And the character artists love action figures, as you can see, and sculpting and models. And they have some of the coolest models and action figures I think I've ever seen. And all you got to do is kind of look around. These guys are pretty awesome up here. There's some cool stuff over there too. I hope you've enjoyed this exclusive look at the Diablo 3 area, and I hope you're enjoying DirecTV's exclusive coverage of BlizzCon. Now, it's time for us to get back to work.
Not even death can save you from me.
And Diablo 3 is playable here. All the fans are getting to play through this. It's amazing to see the line of all the fans that get to play the game. And of course, they're going to have questions on the Diablo 3 open Q&A panel. This is an amazing list. They've got all the key designers and developers of Diablo 3, of course, including Jay Wilson there, to answer fan questions. And Kat, as we know from all the Twitter questions that are coming in, these fans have a lot of very in-depth questions about what they can expect in Diablo 3. We'll be showing you this panel live on DirecTV in just a few minutes. And I bet you they're going to unveil a little bit more about what we can expect from this game.
They have to. And these people have practiced their questions all year. They've written it down and they have rehearsed it. So they're going to put them on the line for sure.
Now, I've been watching Twitter and seeing some of the questions that people have been sending to us. And if you guys have questions, you can send them to @JeffKeeley or @CatHunter. One interesting question that someone said, Xenon Zephyr 360 said, I'm just wondering, instead of making it a new expansion pack, can't they just make a whole new game for World of Warcraft? And that's an interesting question because, you know, World of Warcraft has been around for many years now, and they sort of keep updating it with patches and new graphics and expansion packs. What do you think they're going to do with World of Warcraft down the road? Do you think they're just going to keep doing expansions, or would there ever be a World of Warcraft 2?
I mean, in my opinion, whenever they did EverQuest 2, I think that killed a lot of the community in EverQuest 1. And I probably made a lot of EverQuest fans mad out there, so I'm sorry. But in my opinion, I don't think EverQuest 2 is a wise idea for Sony. I think if you have the ability to update your technical graphic engine, if you have the ability to patch, then why not simply continue to give the invested gamers more content of what they want?
Absolutely, and it seems like they are improving the graphics in a lot of these games. I know even people were talking about the Goblin and how they introduced that yesterday. And some fans were wondering, well, are they going to update the other races and, you know, improve the graphics for those too? And it'll be interesting to see sort of what happens with this, because I mean, the game looks good, but there are a lot of other games that, you know, look better now because the game is somewhat dated. So what do you think Blizzard should do? I mean, from your perspective, from the player perspective, do you think they need to really keep updating the graphics every year? I
think they do. I think that next year, as soon as Cataclysm is out and launched, I would expect to see a lot of graphic changes at that point, and down the road, I wouldn't be surprised to see an entire graphics overhaul of the current game.
See, that would be exciting. That could be the announcement for BlizzCon next year,
Maybe it will be.
We'll have to see, Kat. Well, a lot of news around Cataclysm, and that's actually even playable here for the fans as well. So Blizzard does a great job with over 1,700 PCs here for the fans to be able to play this game, and they get sort of 15 to 20-minute spurts. And I'm looking over here at the Diablo area. I mean, there's a line of probably a couple hundred people who are trying to get a chance to play this game.
They are.
Excellent.
It's only a 30-minute line, so it's not bad.
That's not bad. All right, well, let's head on over now to the Diablo 3 Q&A panel, where the fans are going to get the chance to ask the developers all about the game.
Welcome to the Diablo 3 Open Question and Answer panel.
Good morning, everyone. Are you having a good BlizzCon so far? Cool. So we have a virtual
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin the World of Warcraft Game Systems discussion panel. Please welcome our panelists, Greg Street, Corey Stockton, and Tom Chilton.
So you guys can ask us whatever you want. There's almost no question about Diablo 3 that can't be answered up here. We've got, to my right is Jason Regier. He's our lead programmer. To his right is Christian Lechner. He's our art director. Wyatt Ching, technical game designer. Leonard Boyarsky, lead world designer. Who's that? Michael on the other? Michael Chu, one of our quest designers. Joseph Lawrence, and oh, I skipped Dave. He doesn't matter. Lead level designer Dave Adams, Joseph Lawrence, who's our sound designer, and Steve Parker, who's a senior producer. So all those production questions that have been burning in your soul, we're ready for them. So, and my name's Jay Wilson, I'm the game director, and let's get started.
What efforts for Diablo 3 hacking prevention are you going to push for?
Well, I think one of the things that everybody knows was a really big deal in Diablo 2 was item duplication. And one of the core philosophies of Blizzard is that we want a fair playing field for all of our players. So with Diablo 3, we're definitely learning a lot of stuff from Diablo 2 and taking into account the successes that we had on World of Warcraft. And we're applying all of those things to try to make Diablo 3 as hack-free and as great as possible. Oh, thanks.